Hello, my name is Ellen Dragut-Spanyan, and I will be speaking to you on why school uniforms should be mandatory in our educational system. Now imagine a school where unity, equality, kindness, and a focused learning environment are not just ideals in our world, but actual realities that we get to live through every single day. Today I stand before you to advocate and compel the idea that school uniforms should be mandatory, and that by embracing this uniformity we pave the way for so many benefits that not only enhance the academic atmosphere, but also nurture the essential values of our general society. The things I will be going over with you today on why school uniforms should be mandatory is promoting a sense of equality, enhancing school safety within students among themselves, which can include the prevention of bullying, and promoting a positive and focused learning environment without the presence of defiance among students. As a student herself who has gone through every grade of American public schooling, being a school that has had uniforms and a school that has not, has had a free dress code compared to one that has been so strict, I have seen the pros and cons of them both, and I do stand with school uniforms being such a better option. I'll begin to list and explain some of our main issues associated with school uniforms. One being enforcement challenges, that schools may not be consistent, and that sense of unity and equality can really undermine the intended benefits of uniforms. Another one is cultural and religious considerations. School uniform policies may not always be able to take into account cultural and religious diversity. Certain garments and styles may be incompatible with a lot of students and their beliefs, leading to discomfort, exclusion, and also bullying. Distraction from underlying issues. Many researchers who have studied this issue argue that the focus of implementing school uniforms divert the attention and resources away from actual problems in school, such as student meals or school supplies or better education resources that have nothing to do with their attire, because not having a school dress code is a lot easier. But these problems didn't just come from anywhere. They did originate from consistent issues that I will now speak of. Financial burdens. A huge primary concern is a financial burden placed on families. School uniforms are not cheap, especially in our world, in our American society. We associate school uniforms with private schools, and we see them as like a status of being rich when you have a school uniform. For low-income families with limited resources, it is really not accessible, especially for this, and which also leads to economic inequality and stigmatism of students who can't afford the required attire. Another big one, limited expression of individuality. A lot of critics argue that school uniforms suppress and restrict students' individuality and self-expression. Me, myself, being someone who loves wearing whatever they want, looking cute, but also hating waking up and having to worry about what to wear and what's acceptable, what people are gonna talk about, what they're not. Students will just feel an infringe on their freedom of expression, which we do understand. Another big one is resistance and non-compliance. When uniforms are not mandatory, there's a huge risk of, again, I'm gonna come back to the bullying and rudeness that just people can speak on, saying, I have a little brother who dresses like a child, but he's in middle school. He dresses of the age he's supposed to be at, but it is not acceptable for his social status. Despite these issues, there's always a solution, even if it's a small step, most of which can be achieved with people really coming together, like an inclusive policy development. This involves stakeholders, students, parents, teachers, administrators, and this whole decision-making process, which really brings people together, having them involved, and with this issue achieved. Affordability and accessibility, ensuring that the chosen uniform is accessible considering the subsidy or assistance programs that we can make with the financial constraints, providing multiple purchasing options, or having different suppliers, secondhand uniforms, just to increase that accessibility. The flexibility in uniform options, allowing for various colors and styles to accommodate those cultural and religious diversities, considering seasonal variations in clothing and such. Also, comfort and adaptation to these, really helping that positive school environment where people can just focus on their classes, not look at what people are wearing. Enforcement consistency to communicate with everyone around. Enforce it, keep your children in check, making sure everyone is wearing the same thing, looking good, looking put together, so no one has this issue. In conclusion, this mandatory implementation of school uniforms can really bring numerous benefits, and this debate whether school uniforms should be mandatory or not is really complex, and the argument does come from both sides. While there are so many problems associated with school uniforms, we do argue that there's so many benefits that could outweigh these drawbacks. Who knows? Students themselves could even like school uniforms, look good, that can just look amazing in this day and age, and no one would have to worry about anything. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Goodbye.